Sup, Nerdmigos, and the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norgrove. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review Jive. It is not Saturday, but it can be if you believe. It's Star Trek Saturday.
It's Sunday, though.
It is Sunday.
Which is like late Saturday.
It's church Saturday. Don't worry about it. Anywho, we watched episode 7 of Star Trek Lower Decks for the second time. This is Much Ado About Boimler. And this is it's funny that it's called Much Ado About Boimler. I would call that like the B plot, and the A plot is primarily Mariner based, which is actually this episode is sort of like a standard Lower Decks episode, except for the A plot is all about character development for Mariner, which is really nice. I think that they're doing this thing where it's like every other episode is a character development episode, and the off episodes are just sort of like universe fill episodes. So it's like sort of expand the picture, add detail. Expand the picture, add detail. Yeah. Which is nice. I'm getting a nice balance out of that. So the thing for this episode, the plot for this episode, let's see. So we start with the captain, the first officer, and the chief of security are sent on a secret away mission. They're wearing like black leotards.
And it's like great. About them planting seeds.
A secret away mission where they have to take these seeds and like at any time they could be ready to germinate and be planted in the ground. And we don't really know what the secret mission is about, but it sounds fucking absurd.
Yeah, they're making it very fancy sounding, and
but they're just planting crops.
Pretty certain it's not that. But maybe it is. You never know.
They got 4 trees. It's great. So while they're away, a substitute captain is issued, which is, boy, let me tell you what. That's such a school way of addressing the issue. It's like, we're just gonna have a substitute captain take over the ship. Yeah. So a substitute captain comes on, and in the process of all of this, so while all of this is going on, because the main crew stuff is again C plot, reason behind, but not like actually what's happening. So while our C plot is evolving, our A and B plots begin their bifurcation to split. So basically, the whole crew just realigned some shit on some shit or whatever, and they're all exhausted, and they're back in, and Tendi shows up with the dog, which she has been working on as a side project to basically she created a dog out of just like what I'm imagining is a pile of powder and gloop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on the way she described it, and she like hand sequenced all of its DNA. Now, Tendi is very proud of this dog. Tendi is an Orion. They don't have dogs on Orion. She made an Earth dog, or what she assumes is an Earth dog, and we very fucking immediately. Yeah. This is the best cold open of all time, by the way.
Yeah, we come to understand
I enjoyed this cold open more than last time.
Does not know what
she knows nothing about this dog. So
is.
She introduces this dog, and it's like running around in a dog, and she's like, it's 30% smarter and 20% faster, or whatever the fuck. And they're like, this is great. And then she's like, I'm gonna go get my pad with all the DNA sequences. You guys will enjoy the protein, whatever the fucks. So she runs off, and the dog's head turns all the way around, and its joints all turn backwards.
Upside down.
And it crawls up onto the roof.
Like a spider.
And of course,
it was very reminiscent of the remake of The Thing.
But Boimler and Rutherford are both freaking the fuck out about this, which is super fair, right? This dog is a golden retriever. It should not be doing any of the things that it's doing.
Pretty much.
Mariner is exhausted and doesn't give a fuck, so she basically just turns around on her bunk and is like, wake me up when some shit actually matters.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hilarious beginning of episode, right? So, as Tendi, so Tendi created dog. We get a lot of like little dog throwaways throughout the episode, little introductions to more strangenesses about the dog, but suffice it to say, Boimler wants to impress the new captain, so that way he might have a chance at ranking up, and Rutherford has been working on an improvement to shave a couple of milliseconds off of the transporter sequence. So, of course, Boimler is just like I can tell the captain that, what does he say? I can tell the captain that I'm improving efficiency on my off time or some fucking nerd shit like that. So he goes through, despite the fact that Rutherford openly tells him, like, Tendi doesn't want to help me with this project because she wants me to iron out the kinks first. Which, since you're technically being scanned so deeply that you get ripped apart at the molecular level part of you is converted into energy. Your matter and energy data stream are sent across space, and then you're fucking re-put together, alright, using like fucking Heisenberg buffers and shit like that to make up for the fact that you can't do what Star Trek does. But he doesn't care. It's fine, right? Transporters. He's like the exact opposite of Reginald Barclay from TNG, who's like deathly afraid of transporters. Yeah. But so Boimler gets in the transporter, Rutherford transports him like a whole second faster than it should take, transports him to the next pad over, right? Hey, that totally worked, everything fine. And he's like, do it again! So they transport him back, and he never fully gets out of phase, which means that he is glowing bright blue and making the highest pitched fucking screaming noise. I can't even begin to try to make that sound. It's just like electronic doom, right? And it's so
just the
loud.
Sound that phase makes. But it's nothing just, special.
It's so annoying and so indicative that something's wrong, you know? It's like nothing should be making that noise unless something's wrong kind of a noise. But so Rutherford's just like, that happened again, my bad, we can fix it. And of course, like, that's when the captain just arrived, and so Boimler, like, runs off, like, I'll make it to the bridge and still impress her, even though I'm, like, just, like, making a high-pitched electronic scream and glowing fucking crazy bright. Yeah. So we jump back to Mariner, who's on the bridge, and Mariner goes through the we have substitute teacher guys, they're gonna make us do a bunch of extra homework, fuck substitute teachers, blah, blah, blah. Just like every student who's been in high school has ever done when they found out they had a substitute teacher coming, right? And of course, this time, substitute teacher is an old academy friend of hers, who is now the captain of her own ship. And she has like a Vulcan and, oh my god, the species that has the brain slug things where one of them married Worf from DS9, whatever they're called. That's the one with the spots. I totally know what they are, but I just don't remember their name. And then like a big dude one. I don't know what the fuck he is. Yeah, he could be human. I don't even remember. I don't know that he says any words but like two.
Yeah, he does. Well, he has like one line.
Yeah, he's like, he's not important. Really, it's the sassy Vulcan one that matters.
Oh boy, when we're done recording this, you're gonna remember exactly what species both are.
And I'm gonna be super pissed. It's fine. Comment below. What do you think their species are? Or if you know, tell me what they are. But, so whatever, right? So Mariner's like, oh my god, my friend, hugs, whatever the fuck. Her friend is like, listen, we're gonna make you first officer while I'm here, so you can give me the fucking deets, right? Because they're like homies and they went to the academy together and they used to like hang out and party and all this kind of stuff, right? So you have this like sort of adorable friends reconnecting thing. In the middle of this, Boimler decides to try to be impressive. He comes onto the bridge, which as you can imagine is loud and bright.
Yeah, because he's still making face sounds.
He just fucking fully ignores this, by the way. He just like goes in and is just like working, you know? And of course Mariner's just like, hey, Boimler, the fuck is going on over there? You know? And he's just like, I'm just a little out of phase, don't worry about it. Right? Basically the new captain's like, hey, get the fuck off my bridge. Go to medical, because that shit's annoying. Yeah. So he goes to medical. Whilst in medical, the chief medical officer, the cat lady, basically says, like, I called section 44 or whatever the fuck, right? Starfleet section 14, which is the medical, they're like medical anomaly section, and they pick you up and they transfer you to this place called the farm, which is this like beautiful resort that takes care and heals everybody of their problems. Which is funny because one of the detention centers here in Sonoma County where we live is called the farm. Yeah. The low security adult detention center is called the farm here in Sonoma County. So there's something like a little...
There's something a little
like distance when they're just like, you go to the farm, it'll be great. And I'm just like, don't believe that shit. Which is great because everybody else on the ship don't believe that shit neither. Yeah. But so, you know, we're kind of fast forward. Mariner is just acting like a fuck up. Yeah, she's in just front of this captain.
Acting up.
Which really, when I first watched the episode, I was just like, what is going on here? Yeah. Like normally she's so on point and she's so together and she's so skilled and she's just like fucking up. Yeah. And it was like a little. I was just like, oh my god, is this why she doesn't want to command? Yeah. Or lead? Like, because the stress can't.
Like when she's in charge, she can't handle it.
You know, it's really the way it was. It was like. It was like. watching. It would be like if you watched Captain Picard like fucking up some like basic ass maneuvers or something. You know, it doesn't make sense for the character.
Yeah.
Right. But so she is fucking up, and Boimler gets picked up by Section 14, and of course the chief medical officer is like, hey, we're gonna send Boimler and the dog. Tindy named her dog the dog, and this thing is fucking horrifying.
Except that it's the cutest little cinnamon roll.
It did the weird crawling up the wall spider thing.
Little cinnamon roll.
At one point in time, as it was walking past Mariner and Boimler, it transformed into a solid cube of metal and just rolled away as a cube of metal, which is fucking nuts. And then before they get like picked up by the ship, because the medical officer is just like, whatever the fuck that, like, I'm sending you and whatever the fuck that thing is.
Yeah.
And it's just like its fucking mouth opens like all the way back.
And then
like,
its eyes turn into bats and they
like fly out of its head.
mouth.
And then it's just like snaps back, right? Which is like crazy bananas.
Yeah.
So at this point, we have no clue what's going on with the dog, right? And who knows about, Rutherford's like, Rutherford fixes the noise, but Boimler's still like glowy and facey. Yeah. And Rutherford's just like, you're like a couple of Millie Cochrans off. Don't worry about it. It'll fade away.
Yeah.
Which is concerning as a statement.
Yeah.
But so of course they come to get picked up, and it's just, honest to God, that felt like a Darth Vader Star Wars scene.
It really did.
It's just like doors open,
when
like orange smoke,
like,
dark lights.
Well, it's like this creepy ship, and then it opens, and it's very dramatic and very like Sith Lord.
It really is. It like smoke rolls out of the ship. And he's just like, you're the ones I'm coming to pick up. Like the guy,
he's got like a creepy laugh. He has like a third arm.
He has a third arm and a third leg.
He's got like a cape.
Like a triangle man
because
instead of
it,
like a...
so that like ups the like Sith Lord creepy factor.
Well, and it's like he's orange, and all the lighting in the ship is very like dark and orangey and reddy. So it's doing all of the things that like a human would immediately accept as like the bad guy stuff. Bad guy stuff is always dark and orange and red. You know?
So Tendi and Boimler and the dog go on board.
They go on board.
And like all of the people who are deemed as freaks medically are in like one area.
They call themselves freaks, by the way.
Freaks.
They're just
and
like
there's
the
like
freaks.
a whole bunch of them, right? Like the main guy is like it has like accelerated aging, so he's like an old man on one half of his body, and reverse aging, so he's like a kid on the other half
on one side.
Body.
He's got a little kid leg with like a stump for the bottom half and like a stick. And
but he talks, and it goes in between him being like old man voice and him being like little
like
kid
a young
voice.
boy voice. It's so good.
There's like two officers that are like smushed
they're fused together due to a transport accident. There's a guy whose
like head is kind kind of like
rocky, drifting apart.
There's a lady
Pandora.
Who has a head that looks like a moon.
I don't know what's with the Moonhead lady. I'm gonna assume that that's just a reference to like the Moonhead.
I don't know.
From our childhood.
The funniest one that I thought the funniest one was the guy.
There's also like a dude who's twisted around spider.
And his chest were transposed, so his nipples were his eyes.
Yeah, he has nipples and a belly button.
His nipples
and he has eyes and a mouth.
Oh my god, I couldn't get past that one. That one was the
There's
best.
also the guy who just doesn't have a head. Like his head can just be moved away from his body, and he's covered in spikes. That's a good one. There's also a guy who... there was one that I really liked. There was a guy who... he's basically just like a monster. It's just like a monster in a corner. We ignore the monster man in a corner. There's the chick in the chair that with the beepy foot pedal thing.
Yeah.
Which is just... It's such a great reference. I love it. It's so good.
Well, and then there's Anthony.
And then there's Anthony, which is like a lizard that just breathes loudly, right? It's just like, but it's just like a lizard. That is fully a Warp 10 reference from Star Trek Voyager, right? When in the Voyager episode where Paris goes. Figures out a way to travel faster than Warp 10. He breaks the Warp 10 barrier, and like whatever, I don't know, him and Captain Janeway or him and somebody else, who fucking knows, slowly start to like, they go into like this state of hyper evolution, and they evolve into like salamander people. It's like one of the most made fun of episodes of Voyager because it makes no sense. Honestly, I figured all of them were like some kind of reference. I accept that episode as non-canon. It's just like a fun episode they threw in the middle of a canon show because shit's engaged.
It just exists.
But so there was definitely a Warp 10 salamander, which is fucking great dig. But so they're in there, and of course, like, Tendi is fucking fully unaware of anything that's happening in this. Tendi is the best.
Well, she's just hanging out with the dog. She's just hanging out with the dog.
She's like, do you want to go on a walk the dog? And they're just takes it on a walk through the ship. And of course, as soon as she's gone, all the freaks are just like, we gotta revolt. The farm's gonna torture us.
We've been here for 2 months. There is no farm. This is the farm. It's torture. So they
decide to revolt.
So they're gonna revolt, and Boimler is there, and he's like chanting with them, and it like takes him chanting and puts it in the very next frame, which is him narking on them.
Yeah,
to the
just
captain.
Jump cut to him narking to the like weird triangle
Boimler.
Sith captain. Because you know Boimler, he's all Starfleet all the way, man.
Like, I know he means well, but like snitches get stitches.
I mean, he got beat up a couple of times, so it's fair.
Yeah, he told on them. He kind of deserves it.
That's fair.
I mean, yes, he did stop a mutiny from happening.
He did stop a mutiny.
At the same time,
so
this is not the first time he's told on something.
So of course the captain shows up of this ship with like a phaser rifle, and it's just like, no mutiny shit. Boimler told me what you guys were doing. Yeah. Boimler, go back to your bed. Close the doors. Right, and of course, the bed is just next to everybody.
He's basically like, all you freaks are on timeout. Think about what you've done.
Yeah, closed door. So the freaks are just like, we could kick Boimler's ass because he narked on us. Yeah. So they do, and then they force Boimler into an airlock to just blast him into space. These freaks go from 0 to 100 very fast.
Yeah, they go from 0 to Pandorum very quickly.
Right? So they put him in the airlock, and they like go to blast him out the airlock, and Boimler like falls out of the airlock. Come to find out, he's on the farm, and it's this beautiful utopian place,
and
there's like every person has like 2 hot chicks or 2 hot dudes
to massage
them and make them comfortable and shit.
And there's like a pool, and they have like drinks.
The leader of the freaks, this half old man, half young boy person, legitimately, like, the guy's just like, yeah, you know, the journey takes so long, but it's always worth it once we get here, and like, you know, maybe we can paint the ship brighter colors or turn on more lights. I can, like, we'll stop the thing next time. We'll talk before we revolt. And then he starts to creepy laugh.
And he starts to creepy laugh. And then he looks over at the camera and he's like, that's just how I laugh.
Yeah, he's just like, hey guys, I'm sorry, that's just how I laugh. And the leader of the freaks is just like, boy, do I have egg on my face. Like, I thought that this was all an elaborate ruse. You know, one of those kind of things, which is fucking great that it wasn't.
So then Tendi has to go say her goodbyes to the dog. Yes. And it is very sweet. There's like a sunset happening.
Oh, it's like they're on a lake.
Like a pier.
Also, did that lake not look like just a little bit like the lake from, what is that, Michael Myers? Is that the one with the lake?
Not Michael Myers. It absolutely looked like the lake from Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, thank you.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah. It looks so much like Crystal Lake both times we've watched it. I'm just like, what the fuck? Is there gonna be something weird here? Nothing weird happens, by the way.
Just like Camp Crystal.
Yeah, it's super
So Tendi's saying goodbye to the dog, and then the dog starts talking.
It like stands up on 2 legs.
And it's like,
and it's just like, listen,
and
Tendi.
it's like, Tendi, you are a really great creator, and I love you, and things are gonna be happy here. Like, don't worry about me. And Tendi is like, thanks so much, the dog. And then like Boimler comes up, and he's like, you knew it could talk, and she's like, yeah, obviously it's a dog. Of course it can talk. Yeah. And Boimler's like, dogs don't do any of this stuff.
Oh, the dog flies away. By the way.
Oh yeah, and it's so cute.
It's like a little dog.
It's like doing the little
dog paddle thingy. It's adorable, right?
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
So Tendi's like, oh, I didn't know that it couldn't talk or whatever. And she's like, can dogs fly and shoot lightning? And Boimler's like, no, what are you talking about?
And she's like,
well, I've never met a dog before. Like, so she made a dog literally based on some photos is what I'm gonna guess.
And then like added her own headcanon of what she figured
what she assumed dogs could do.
Pet would have.
So while all of this B plot, that's the B plot, is the Tendi Boimler freak ship thing.
Oh, and then Boimler gets his like regular, you know,
Boimler
body back. And because he's got his regular body back,
the girls don't want to help him. Yeah.
He can't stay at the farm, and he has to go back to the ship.
So he's butthurt about that.
Yeah, so while all of that stuff is happening,
while that B plot's happening, our A plot is basically, it's short. I'm gonna run through this real quick. Mariner's kind of a fuck up. her best friend, like, has told all these stories about her being this great leader who was amazing and led the class and all this kind of stuff, and she just, like, continually fucks shit up, right?
Yeah.
Finally, the captain just, like, at one point in time, they, like, they get to a ship, because they're supposed to meet a ship. That ship doesn't show up, they scan on long-range sensors, they find it dead adrift in space over here, so they go over there, beam over to the ship. It's like totally without life support or gravity or nothing like that, right? So they scan the crews down to the cargo hold. They magnet boot all the way to the cargo hold. You know, magnet float release, magnet float release. You know how it works. So they magnet boot all the way to the fucking cargo hold. Open that up. Whole crew's in there. Just like, nobody turn on any lights. It feeds on power. And of course the captain's like,
so she's trying to get back to her officer
to your warp core?
to get him to turn off the power.
Which does not work. They turn on the warp core, and the ship decides to just start sprouting glowing tentacles and like trying to eat people or something. And so Mariner, like the captain, starts freaking out, and Mariner just knocks the captain the fuck out.
Yeah.
Which beautiful scene, by the way. She's just like, boom, everybody, let's go. You know.
Yeah,
and
like
so
all of a sudden Mariner is like back to her own self.
Badass again, right? And so of course once everybody's like escaping back to the bridge to be transported out, this new captain, Mariner's friend, it basically is just like, all right, let's shut this the fuck down.
What the hell?
What's with all this fucking up in front of my fucking homies shit? I've been telling all these guys that you're badass, and you have been badass. You should have been the first one of us to be a captain, and you were like the thing that kept our class together during the academy, and now you're just like a fuck up? Clearly you're doing this on purpose because you don't want a fucking promotion. The fuck with that shit. Yeah. So, which is great that Mariner just got like kind of called on her shit about this, and Mariner basically says like, listen, you stop trying to give me a fucking job. I'm gonna stop fucking up on purpose. Agree? Let's save these motherfuckers. Yeah. So they get back to the bridge. Of course, there's too many people, and the transporter can't get all of them in time.
So they have to have
gonna fall apart. So
turn on his experimental
thing. She calls Rutherford to run his experimental transport everybody in the transporter room. He does. Everybody's very loudly glowing. He saves it. Mariner and Rutherford save the day, obviously, which kind of brings A and B plots back together. Yeah. So they're all like glowing and loud and whatever, and our captain and Mariner basically kind of have a heart-to-heart about it, and Mariner's like, you know what? Like, I don't want to go up in ranks yet. I want to figure out who I am and what I'm doing first. This is like the final scene. They're in Tin Forward.
In the bar.
They're at the bar area, right? Tin Forward is what it's called in TNG. I don't even know what it's called on the Cerritos. But they're at the bar, and so she like admits that like, hey, like I'm just trying to figure my life out, whatever the fuck. And so her friend's like, well, listen, if you figure it the fuck out, like, you will be my first officer if you want it. The position is always open to you, like, in BD. And then the real crew, the real captain and first officer of the Cerritos show back up, and obviously, which I love this scene, it's so great. The first officer of the Cerritos immediately starts hitting on the or on the friend captain, on Mariner's friend captain, and she just puts him through a fucking table and is just like,
she's like,
I'm still on action, I don't know. Yeah, and they just like laugh and walk the fuck away.
Yeah.
Into fucking
But it's funny because
basically.
when Mariner is first catching up with her friend in captain's quarters, and Mariner's like being all goofy and silly, her friend is like, have you seen his photon torpedo yet?
Yeah, right, just straight up, she's just like, so you hit that? Which is great because we all know that she's inevitably going to hit that.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah.
Whether or not we want it to, it has to happen. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I have zero problem with that.
I think I'm super into it.
Yeah. Because I feel like her and Boimler as like a relationship kind of thing is a little too similar to Rick and Morty. Like in The Parents.
Yeah, it's...
You know? It's a little
like,
too close to Beth and Jerry.
Yeah, I feel
where
like...
she's like super strong and great and stuff, and he's kind of like meek.
Yeah.
Like, I think he needs someone to like reinforce him rather than push him down.
Yeah,
I'm afraid that Mariner would do that.
Be married to his career and never really...
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I think that's the kind of person that he's going to be, but I am interested to see where they go with evolving Boimler's character, but I feel like we got from this episode a lot about Mariner's character, a lot about why she's so badass but still just an ensign, and how, you know, even though she's like a super badass and she's good at all this like space stuff, maybe she has some uncertainties internally about whether it's command or leadership or just trying to figure out where she wants to go. And we can clearly tell throughout this season, right, that Starfleet very much supports people finding the path that they would most enjoy through Starfleet. Yeah. Right? And we got that from the episode where Rutherford jumped departments like 5 times. Right? So I think that this is one of those times where, like, this captain friend of hers sort of acted as the audience stand-in to basically be like, hey man, you super badass, why the fuck don't you have an extra pip on your neck? Like, what's going on here? And I think we got a fucking really good answer, right? Yeah, which is that she's trying to figure it out, man. And yeah, she might be badass at a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't mean that she has the confidence or the wherewithal or simply the willingness. Some people are going to want to be an ensign forever, and they're going to be like captain level good at their jobs, but they just don't want to do that, right? And I think that's... I don't necessarily know that that's where Mariner's going to go. I think that she's inevitably going to become a captain. I think that's kind of the moral of it. It's but just I think because somebody's good, that doesn't mean that you need to push them to be... It's the, like, no good leaders are people who want to lead, right? I mean, leaders are the people who don't want to lead, but reluctantly do so. You know, that kind of a thing. I think that this episode did a great job really kind of exploring the Mariner side of things, regardless of the fact that, like, I think a lot of the jokes and a lot of the humor came out of our B-plot, which was Tendi, the dog, and Boimler. I think Rutherford was sort of backburnered on this one, which kind of sucks because I like Rutherford, but at the same time, we did get a lot of Rutherford in previous episodes, and I think we'll get more in future episodes, so, like, I'm happy about that. But this was a really fun episode.
It really was.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, you know, is it better than, like, episode 6 or 5? I don't necessarily know about that. I don't know about
better, but this was a solid episode.
But I still had a ton of fun with this episode. It was a great episode. Oh my god. The captain of the Cerritos and the first officer and the security officer in, like, ninja jumpsuits holding a bunch of plants. Just like, at any time we can do this. It's badass. Don't worry about it. Secret missions. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. It's so amazing. But, because it's so cheesy. Yeah. Right? But they're like, they take their job so seriously. But, I mean, the dog is clearly my favorite character in this episode. Yeah. The dog, I want one of them. Can I get the dog? Because I would purchase of the dog.
Yes, I would absolutely.
Yeah, I would purchase of the dog. Yeah. Because they're freaky and weird, and why the hell not, right?
And also awesome.
Also, if they can crawl on the wall, they're going to get the roof spiders, which our dogs can only get when they get on the ground.
Yeah, they only get floor spiders, but they are really good at getting floor spiders.
If the dog can fly and crawl on the roof, then he can get gnats in the air and roof spiders. And to be honest with you, we have a lot of spiders, so I'm
we live in a forest in an old house. There's a lot of bugs around here.
Well, then the dog would just start chasing birds, and we don't need that. We're friends with them.
Oh yeah, birds. Maybe we don't get a the dog.
Maybe we get a the dog, but it's an indoor the dog.
Like a the dog light, like indoor. A little one, maybe.
No, that's worse. Big dog, smarter. Not a small dog. Yappy, not as smart. But yeah, you know what? This was a great episode. I had a great time. What did you think about it? Who was your favorite character? What did you think about all the freaks and all their freak accidents? I loved it. It was just full of references. Yeah. It was like, instead of having a bunch of references throughout the episode, what if we compressed them all into like a 5-second scene where the camera just pans across a bunch of freaks? Yeah. You know? Yeah. It was great. Every time that fucking warp tin salamander came on screen, I just immediately big fucking shit-eating grin on my face. It's so funny. It's such a great reference. I loved it to death. But yeah, either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Review Jive. We watched Lower Decks episode 7. Much Ado About Boimler. And yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
We'll catch you guys next time.